What's going on, YouTube? Running life here. Just out riding around, chilling and whatnot. Sunday, I go back to work tomorrow. Oh, no, it's not that bad. Anyways, I just wanted to say hey. I got home last night at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't a bad trip. And started up my bike. It started right away. I was very impressed with her and happy with her. She did choke a little because of the whole ethanol fuel sitting in the fuel tank clogging up the carburetor. But tomorrow afternoon, I am supposed to go look at a Kawasaki Ninja 300. And I know I've read, all the specs and data sheets on the old 250s versus basically what I have, Honda Shadow 750. The V-twins, the Honda Shadow line up to 750 until the introduction of fuel injection, which probably made them a little bit more fuel efficient and a little bit of the throttle response. And I mean, that you might see a little bit more power out of it because of that, but I mean, they were all pretty much the same, and it's just a different body style. But I know I read a lot of reviews and whatnot that said that and speed tests and YouTube, there's just, I mean, you can research anything nowadays on the internet. But there's a lot of things that said that basically a little Ninja 250 had no problem whatsoever keeping up with something like a Honda Shadow 750, until the top speed. And that was partially due to, a little Ninja 250 pretty much red lines, as they call it, to the moon. It's got like a 12 to 13,000 RPM red line. And, the Honda Shadow series being a, being a cruiser, of course the RPMs are tamed down so that it has that low end grunt. And I can't say that I don't like my Honda Shadow, because I do. I personally thought that having a cruiser, not even a standard, like standard sport or standard sport touring, style sitting position, I thought that having a cruiser with my legs out in front of me and a completely upright seating position would actually help me, be able to run longer rides, be able to ride longer rides. I have knee and back issues, so that's what I went with. And I can tell you by personal experience now that that's not necessarily the case. I was comfortable initially for about 2.5 hours. Of almost straight riding. I'd pull over and sightsee or use the restroom or whatever, whatever the case is. You pull over every hour, 2 hours, whatever, to chill, stretch your legs. Maybe it's cold and you got to let your hands, get out of the wind for a few minutes, whatever it is. But that really wasn't the case. I mean, 1.5 hours is a good stretch on a bike, but I'm quite confident that I could pull 1.5 hours on any bike. I mean, at least an hour. I mean, I like to ride, so you forget about time while you're doing it, and it becomes more of a, scenery, paying attention to your engine, listening to that sound, which is great, and that kind of stuff. So for me, it's not even, and I don't have a clock mounted on my bike or anything like that, so I can't just reach down and check at the time anyway. But it ended up being that upright seating position actually really did cause a substantial amount of pressure on my lower back, which is what I was trying to avoid, just as I'm trying to avoid having too much pressure on my wrists going with like a 600RR or a Gixxer or R6 or whatever the case may be, even though I don't really have an issue with my wrists. It's more of a seat height thing, in that I've sat on the Gixxer 600, it's the only one that's comfortable. But after about 1.5 hours, the pressure on my lower back makes me either want to lean forward or lean backwards on the motorcycle anyways. So, I don't know, it's kind of weird to find yourself laying over the gas tank whenever it's a cruiser, right? So, I mean, I'm not dead set on getting rid of my motorcycle. I do like it. I just am going to go check something, and maybe they'll let me take it for a test drive. Maybe they won't. I don't know. It is a new bike, so probably not, but whatever. But it's that, and I'm going to look Tuesday at a Honda CBR 250R. It's brand new, and I just like it really because it's got the red, white, and blue color scheme. I think that's pretty hot, personally. But I sat on one of those. Now, it was a Repsol edition, but I don't think the color of the motorcycle has anything to do with its ergonomics. I sat on the 250R, and the Ninja 300 is actually more comfortable for me. I'm able to flat foot easier on the Ninja 300, and it seems like the foot pegs, the front foot pegs on the CBR 250R are actually in kind of a weird spot when I put my feet down. That might just be me. It might just be because I'm short. It might just be because I'm used to a cruiser. Who knows? But the cost difference between the two, I mean, obviously a CBR 250R should be cheaper than a Ninja 300. They're not always, but they should be, because it's an older bike and it's a smaller bike, so they should, they should adjust the price accordingly. But they don't always, because I've seen the Repsol edition still trying to sell for $5,000, and the Honda CBR 300R is already out. But anyways, that's a whole different conversation inside of itself. But the price difference between the two is a substantial difference, and I'm not worried about outgrowing the bike at all, honestly. Whichever one I get, I'm going to pay off in its entirety when I get my tax return for 2000. When I get my tax return in 2015 for 2014, I'm gonna pay off my motorcycle. So whether I owe $2,000 or $6,000, I'm still gonna pay it off. It doesn't matter. I have looked at more expensive bikes. I've sat on the 500R, the Honda CBR 500R, and I actually like the weight difference going down to the 300s and the 250s. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because I took such a long break in riding and I've only been back in the saddle for a few months now, or whatever the case may be. But I like how bent my knees are on the Ninja 300. Granted, I know you're only required to be able to put a foot down to be able to operate your motorcycle. I already took the MSF course and all that, so retook the MSF course back in September. Now it's December. But I mean, personal preference, I don't have to be able to put both of my feet down. The only time that I really do is if I am on a long trip, and then it's nice to be able to stretch your legs out. Usually I put my left foot down whenever I stop. That way I can operate my rear brake, unless I've done some driving in the middle of the night where there's no cars on the road, and then if I know I'm going to be sitting at a light forever, or for 2 or 3 minutes just to sit at a light, I'll go ahead and put the bike in neutral. And when I come to a stop, I'll go ahead and put my right foot down and squeeze, keep my front brake engaged while I keep my left foot up by the shifter, so it's easy to go ahead and knock it down into first gear should I need to immediately. But I like being able to have the confident ability to put both of my feet down flat, and so far the Ninja 300 does that for me the best. The Gixxer, the GSXR 600 is actually really close behind it, and it doesn't feel that much heavier, but the Ninja 300 is only like 300, 3 3/4 digits, so it's not a heavy motorcycle at all. I know that's going to be affected by wind and stuff. I do like that about my Honda Shadow, is with it being a 550 plus pound motorcycle, you get hit by a good gust of wind and it doesn't necessarily always try to send you all the way across the road. It hits you, you counter steer into it a little bit, and then it's over with. And I've heard, I don't know, but I've heard that with them little bikes that the wind can tend to throw you around a little bit, so that's something I'll have to adjust to. But like I said, tomorrow I'm going to look at the Ninja 300. I think they have it as sale priced for $39.99. And then if that's a no-go, or I'd wuss out or whatever the case may be, then the next one is the CBR 250R, and that one's on sale for like $27.99. And the thing I'm gonna have to pay for both of them, which kind of sucks because it's not a used motorcycle, unfortunately, is freight and setup fees. That's always like $500 or $600 by itself. So that tacks $1,000 under the price tag alone, pretty much. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. I might share this video in a couple extra places to try to actually get some legitimate feedback from somebody. I'm not necessarily worried about having 50,000 views on my YouTube channel, but right now it would be nice to actually have some solid feedback from experienced people. So I might actually share this on a couple websites that I know about that other people are experienced with, or other people that ride that have the experience in this area. But that's pretty much it for today. I just want to get everybody's feedback. Thumbs up, thumbs down, give me a sub, show some love, and I'll talk to you later. Running life. Peace out.